I'm going to mix the shades strip for the Hansa yellow. Remember, depending on what your starting point is, you're going to make sure that you start with your standard. So for this Hansa yellow, even though we love this color straight out of the tube, at this point from your tints, you should kind of know that it's a pretty weak pigment, so it doesn't have that much tinting strength. We're going to add a tiny bit of the white just so that it stands up to the black. So here's my yellow, Hansa yellow. I'm going to add a tiny bit of white, not to change the color, but just to give it a little more strength when it gets mixed in with that black. I'm going to give it a real thorough mix. And you know what? Because I'm going to have to reach the whole length of that strip, I'm going to go with a bit more paint just because I have a feeling if I don't, I'm going to run out. So, but I think I'm not going to add in any more white. I think that was sufficient. Here's my yellow. Put out a little black. Here's my strip all measured out. Dip it in water, dry it a little bit. Here we go. Can you see that? Yeah. I'm going to start out again with the straight Hansa and that tiny, tiny bit of yellow, trying to make it a nice coat. And I'm going to mix just this weeest bit of black, and I'm going to mix it to the whole pot. And oh my gosh, it already changed things. Look at that, so fast, the tiniest bit, and it's already that changed. I guess I will just mix the whole thing. So make sure you start slow with this Hansa. Remember, all of your colors are going to have different tinting strengths, so you should have a sense of them at this point. You're not going to need to add so little of the pigment to, say, the blues, because they have more, or the red, the cadmium red in particular, because they have much stronger pigment in them. A little more. Oof, maybe even too much. I don't know, I'm going to put it to the side. Oh yeah, it's changing fast. It changes fast. Oh, let's just put it all together. Mixing it thoroughly so that we don't get streaks in there. This is just really good practice with your palette knife, trying to get even color in there. You're going to have some show through of the paper because this Hansa is pretty weak, so don't worry about that. In the future, when we want a strong, solid coat of paint on there with no transparency at all, we're going to put multiple coats. You do want to let it go dark. Look at, there's not much difference between those two, so I did go back and add a little bit more black into my pot, and I'm just going to lay a coat right over it. I do find as I go, I need to add more and more black to the mix to get it to move. Otherwise, it just sort of stagnates. And just so that you can have a more full exploration of that color, go ahead and let yourself add some more black so that it gets nice and dark. And here we have the completed Hansa yellow strip. It goes from straight Hansa yellow with a tiny bit of white to a fair bit of black. Let it go pretty dark, and then make sure you, in your strip, you explore that range in the middle.